Once upon a time, in a peaceful Zen monastery, hidden deep within the mountains, lived a young disciple named Renji. He had always been ambitious, eager to build a great future for himself. But now his days were clouded with regret and anxiety. A few months ago, he had taken the most important exam of his life, one that would shape his future. For years he had studied, worked hard, and sacrificed his comfort to prepare for it. But on the exam day, fate had other plans. Renji fell gravely ill, his body weak, his mind foggy. He tried his best, but he knew it wasn't enough. And when the results arrived, his worst fears were confirmed. He had failed. Since that day, his mind had become a battlefield of regret and fear. What if I had just been healthy that day? What if this failure ruins my future? What if I never recover from this? What if I am left behind while others move forward? The past kept haunting him, and the future seemed dark and terrifying. One evening, Master Kenshin, the wise Zen master, found Renji sitting alone under an old maple tree, his head lowered, eyes lost in thought. The master sat beside him and placed a warm cup of tea in his hands. "Your heart is troubled, Renji," the master said gently. Renji sighed. "Master, I failed my exams. I worked so hard, and yet because of something beyond my control, I lost everything. And now I am afraid. What if this failure ruins my entire future?" Master Kenshin listened patiently, then stood up. "Come, let's take a walk." The two walked in silence until they reached the edge of a flowing river. The moon reflected on the water, shimmering like liquid silver. Master Kenshin bent down, picked up a heavy rock, and handed it to Renji. "Throw this into the river," he instructed. Renji hesitated but obeyed. The rock made a loud splash, sending ripples across the surface before disappearing. "Now tell me, Renji," the master asked, "where is the rock?" "At the bottom of the river." "And is the river still flowing?" Renji gazed at the steady stream, endlessly moving forward. "Yes, master." The master smiled. "The past is like that rock, Renji. No matter how heavy it was, no matter how deeply it sank, the river of time does not stop. Yet you, my son, keep diving in, trying to hold on to something that no longer exists." Tears welled in Renji's eyes. He had spent so much time trying to change something that was already over. The master then reached into his robe, pulled out a small paper lantern, and handed it to Renji. He lit the candle inside and placed it on the water's surface. The lantern floated gently, carried by the current, its soft glow flickering against the dark sky. "This lantern represents the future," the master said. "You do not know where it will go. But does that mean you should stop moving forward?" Renji watched as the lantern drifted away. He had been so afraid of an uncertain future that he had paralyzed himself in the present. He slowly shook his head. "No, master," Master Kenshin nodded. "The future is uncertain, but worrying about it does not change its course. Your responsibility is not to control where the lantern will go. It is to focus on what you can do now. Your present actions shape your future." The master then knelt and touched the earth beneath them. "Tell me, Renji, what is the only place where your hands can touch? The only place where your feet can step?" Renji looked down and whispered, "Here, now." The master smiled. "Exactly. The past is behind you, the future is ahead, but the present is in your hands." Then he pointed to a tree standing tall nearby. This tree was once a tiny seed. It had no guarantee that it would survive. It didn't know if it would grow strong or be destroyed by storms. But it didn't waste time fearing the future. It just did what it needed to do each day. It absorbed sunlight, took in water, and strengthened its roots. And now, here it stands, unshaken. The master looked at Renji with a steady gaze. You, too, must be like this tree. You cannot change the past, and you cannot control the future, but you can plant the right seeds today. Study, not because you fear failure, but because knowledge strengthens you. Work, not because of pressure, but because effort today builds success tomorrow. Improve yourself, not because you're afraid of the future, but because growth is the only way forward. Take care of your health, not because you fear illness, but because strength is built daily. Be present, not because the future is scary, but because this moment is the foundation of everything that comes next. Your failure is not the end, Renji. It is a lesson, a seed. Will you waste it by drowning in regret, or will you nurture it into something greater? For the first time in months, Renji felt light. He had been carrying a burden that no longer served him, one that only he had the power to release. That night, he slept peacefully, not haunted by the past, nor fearing the future, but fully alive in the present. The next morning, he woke up with renewed purpose. He picked up his books, not because he feared failure, but because he was still capable of success. He trained his mind, not to erase the past, but to build resilience for the future. He knew now that success isn't just about results. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work, and trusting the process. The river continued to flow. The lantern continued its journey, and Renji finally was moving forward. Lessons that we can learn from this story is: the past is a rock at the bottom of the river. Stop diving in to retrieve it. The future is a drifting lantern. You can't control it, but you can trust the journey. The present is soil in your hands. Plant the seeds today for the life you want tomorrow. So instead of drowning in regret or fearing the unknown, just do what needs to be done today. Live now, work now, and let time take care of the rest. If you want to live mindful life through this kind of life-changing stories, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the story. This is Epic Inspire Stories. God bless you all.